here. I break this over the side. So that's pretty much almost a daily exercise. When I have enough solar power, then I just plug the engine block warmer into there. That's what's happening currently. So now if I want to turn on my block heater, I turn on the inverter, I turn on the power switch, and I flip the switch. Bam! Block warmer turned on. This whole build oddly starts with this. So that's the block heater, and part of this build is wiring the block heater into the box to where it just works on a switch. Okay, so why do I start with that out of all the things I have to start with? Well, I kind of have to work from the bottom up, right? So I've got this metal pan that goes in there. I've already put a hole in there and stuff comes through. But I have to unplug the battery and the box. So that's where the plug is going to come through. So I've got to run a whole nother wire right up through there, right? So I do that, I get it to there, then I unplug it, put in the grommet, unplug the battery, and proceed to work on it. So it starts up there with and crawling around underneath the truck. So after weeks, literal weeks of shopping and buying stuff, and I still don't have every single thing I need for that side of the job, I'm waiting on a junction box. I started to do this today, and I looked at this, and I looked at that, and I looked at the rest of the wire that's all run around in there, and it's all shielded. And that's the one thing that I didn't remember, so I literally had to drive to town to get this today. So the only thing the install shop did that was kind of wonky was leaving this grommet out and running those wires right through that metal. So I mean, the one is protected, but the ground has got a pretty good nick in it, and so I just had to. This was actually sprayed with bed liner, so it was way tougher than rubber, and I kind of carved back the edges of the bed liner so it's not as but it's nowhere near the chafe potential that the bed is. I just lifted this freaking thing. It's heavy. So I'm feeling a lot better about that. What I just had to do was I just had to loosen this to be able to get my hand in there to get at the back of this guy right here. There's a lot of dead space back in there, and I'm trying to take advantage of it. So how do I get a screw in the bottom of there when it won't hold on to the tip? Yeah. So this is day 3 of the installation build. So I've got this all mocked up, and I got to drill a hole, and I have to line the hole up perfectly with the hole that's in the metal below it. And then I just have to mount all that stuff. Hey, I'm making cables. This is my cable making station. There's my crimp. This is my first one here. Build day 4, and I have my lovely install board ready to go. So it's got handles and Velcro. The Velcro was not liking the cold. Popped it in the warm room overnight. It's on there. It's stuck to the wood, stuck to the metal, solid. So now there's an order that this all has to go together in. It's going to make it safest, cleanest. I have to drill holes in here, 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 here. I have to mount the device, the cord reel there. I have to swap out the battery. The battery's got these little things that hold it this way. So I'm going to take those out and just press it up against this. So now I got this little gizmo here. It's called a pullet. It's actually a patented thing, and what this thing is built for is this is a electrician's tool that you put this into the socket in the wall, and you can pull your wire right through the wall super easy. You can put these wherever you need to put them so you can make your wire run super easy. You can't put it in the middle of your run. You can just put them at the ends where you're going to put a junction box. There's no way to get this back off. But what I'm going to use this for is the exact same thing, but I got to go through this piece here and this here. But this piece will be the piece, like, you know, hypothetically it's, you know, like it's raining or snowing, and I open the box, the plug will be right there. So then I'll just open this hatch, put the plug through there, and then I'll be able to immediately shut this and then just pull it straight through here. And this will just make sure it guides through there without any issues, in theory. So I have to move that J-bolt to there. And then I'm drilling a hole right here to install this gizmo, and then that goes back in here. That's why the J-bolt has to get moved. And this is a 20 amp plug, all wired there, ready to go to the inverter. All right. So I am getting ready to install the last thing I need to install before I can wire everything up. So I got my little drop cloth in there. I got my holes marked. This part's done. So this is this, and this all are for this. And this is what powers the converter. All right, end of day 5. This was 3 days right here, this hole. It's over 1.5 inches of steel. And I had to cut the doors off, which I'm so happy the doors are off. But that was, you know, more work that had to be done to clear up this area to make it available for this to be installed. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so I'm just not getting it in there. These little guys are meant to kind of taper underneath the curvature of this. So I'm gonna have to cut these off a little bit. Alright, so here's the modified mounting location for the battery. So there's plenty of clearance right here to run cables. And actually, I just like this design better because previously the battery was pushed up to here and the terminals are right there and the aluminum's right there, and I don't know, I just don't like it as much as I like it having the space instead of having a space back there, because now this thing's tighter as well. It can't flop around like it used to kind of flop around a little bit. Now it doesn't flop around. The battery's in there tight. What do you think? Do you think I've messed with my warranty? Leave a comment in this comment section below. What the heck, you know? Come on, man. Oh. You know, I think the easiest thing is just to take the inverter off. Uh-oh. Oh, bastard. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Doo-doo. Ah, my finger! Doo-doo. Oh, I got handles. Come on, baby. Okay. One more custom thing is it's a custom assembly order. This thing no longer goes in before. And honestly, if I have to get rid of it, oh well. This box has really got zero potential as holding anything other than electrical equipment at this point. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no. Right. Hold on. Fishes wires. I should have done that. Back here. Yes. Okay. Now, the handles, levitate board, down, all the way over, over to there. Then, all right. I just didn't knock that thing down. We can hope. Ah! Okay. That's gonna be interesting. Okay. Take two. It's getting to be late in the day. Running out of sun. I'm running out of energy. The little rubber feet are falling off. I'm just going to take them off so I don't lose them. I thought this was going to be a one-day build, one-day wiring. Now we can test to see how the Velcro comes out. Oh shit. That's why you don't put that in there until you're done. So I pretty much am out of sunlight. I got that far. The internal system works. Everything works just fine. But the battery died, and then in the amount of time the battery died, I had one of those backer screws fell out. So I had to take it all the way out, and then I had to put it all the way back in again. And then when I put it back in again, I didn't really pay close enough attention to where I put it. And I didn't get it close enough this way. So then I had to try to adjust it. And in adjusting it, it completely moved. So I had to take the inverter out to get it in there. So then the inverter has been in and out of there 3 times now just to get it in. So everything took a lot more time than I was expecting today. I was expecting to be done with the wiring of this, which the wiring isn't a lot, but it's enough, and I'm worn out enough. Ha-ha! There! That's what it's been doing. That thing was just making the craziest noise ever. Okay, so it's day 8 maybe? 9? 28? Don't even know. And the new solenoid is not working just like the old solenoid wasn't working. Except this solenoid says it's working when it's not actually working. So that red is supposed to indicate that it's charging, but it's not. It's dropping right there. But when I push it in, boom, it starts to charge again. So this box is just a lemon. It's got just problems, like in it. Problems that, like I said from day one, you people need to take this back as a return, back to the factory, get it back in the factory environment, and figure out WTF, what's up with this thing, okay? No, it's your truck, it's your truck, it's your truck, and it's like, the first shop, you know, they were just a shop. They had never seen anything like this. They just did what the guys told them to on the phone. Nothing. Guy comes out here from fucking Kansas. Works on it for hours. The very next day, it started doing the same thing again. I sent him a video the very next day. And at that point, the owner had already told me, he's like, oh, well, if there was something wrong with the box, then we'll talk about a return. Well, there was something wrong with the box, and oh no, he didn't want to talk about a return. He wanted to send somebody else out here on a tax write-off vacation to Oregon from Kansas. And they're blowing my phone up when I'm in freaking Portland hauling a load. It's like I got nothing better to do than spend all my time on this box, is basically what that company's attitude was. And when it's this broken, you know, and they're like, oh, I got hundreds of these boxes out there. You see what number it is? I got number 266. So when he says hundreds, it's literally 2. So, oh, we couldn't have a problem. We got hundreds out there. I mean, so, yeah, and this is the type of thing that I get to deal with after losing everything in a fire, which I told them. And they gave me a discount as if I was the retailer. So typically, because they didn't have anybody in this region to sell me this box, I called them, so they gave me that, which was a few $100. So $5,000 with installation is what I got into the thing, and it's just nothing but problems. How complicated is changing the solenoid? Now, is there a special solenoid that they had in here that's a different flavor, and that's why it's, I don't know. So it's just a bad design to get this thing in past this. You have to jam it into all this over here. I just debranded the box mainly because it's not really a Powerbox anymore. And this is like an advertisement. And it's also a giant, you know, like, hey, thieves, I've got a freaking $5,000 thing sitting in the back of my truck. And that was 5,000 bucks before I started working on it, right? So this little part of the project is about 500 bucks or so. I don't know, the nuts and bolts and the gas and all the little thises and the that's. I'm not sure how much it all came up to. But definitely don't need to advertise that I got a big chunk of money sitting in the back. Okay, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Back off a little. That should be okay. Now we'll go here. Fancy Guda technology. That's a sign. It wasn't nearly the spark that I was expecting. Fine, and my output's at 121. Oh yeah, baby. How it stays on is by clamping onto the wires. Assuming the wires just all go perfectly straight, right? So, and this is kind of important, believe it or not, because I really don't want this hot post right here. No. So, I've got to modify. Okay, end of the day, and there she is. That's how far I am left or done. Now I've got to I got to do some research about where my ground's gonna go. So it's day 9 something, and this little gizmo here, this is a solenoid, and it has no markings on it whatsoever. So I posted on the forum a picture of this thing because I had no idea what this was. And the forum came back, DIY Solar Forum, great resource. But they said, oh, that's a Ford style solenoid. And I was like, sweet. I got one open on linkandnapa.com, and they're like, yeah, that one will work. Just one guy, right, that seemed to know what he was talking about. And nobody really said anything. Okay. So it's installed in there, and it's not doing the job that it's supposed to be doing. I got one of these coming. A 200 amp continuous duty. There's the rub. This is a continuous duty model. The one that I put in there is a starter solenoid. This is a continuous duty. So it's like two different gizmos completely. And then within this gizmo line, there's a whole bunch of different amp ratings. And I asked these freaking questions and I got no answers until these two guys came in like late into the conversation that really knew what was going on, because they use this kind of system over the years in their RVs. And what people are calling this, typically, they call it like a hack or a hack. I think a couple people, oh, I haven't seen that hack in a while, yada, yada, yada. So apparently it's kind of an old school solution to having batteries in different locations, because your batteries are supposed to be on the same length run from each other. And in this truck, I got 4 batteries, so the batteries are all over the place. So that little solenoid is supposed to make sure that that's not an issue. Alright, so this is bad. It's not charging, and this button is now stuck for some reason. Oh, and the light just went out. But yeah, that button stopped working altogether. So now I fear that this incorrect solenoid has possibly done even more damage. So I have to, like, right now take all that apart and put that old solenoid in there. Day 1 million. So this I got done a little while ago. Don't judge me on the burn mark. And don't judge me on this as overkill. It was in the discount bin at the hardware store, and I just had bought it because it was cheap. And then I was like, oh, I can use that. All right, so I got this thing pulled apart. And this is the switch that has died. Today, I don't even know. Hopefully today is the day, because as you can see, Mr. Sun is losing the battle of the sky, i.e. I'm not getting enough solar power to live my lifestyle. So I got the 200 amp continuous solenoid. That is the right part. Now the broken switch problem is just going to be handled by using this switch right here. And then this other end, I ran into a very depressing hurt. I couldn't put both my wires through here. It's simply not big enough. The bends, and then I just think this actual part won't even allow for that much wire to go through. The conduit will, but the part, the watertight part. So that means that I have to either not have my plug right here. So I wanted to have a plug right here to plug stuff into, you know, like the truck or a saw or a vacuum or whatever, right? It's that kind of plug. So I won't have one of those right off the start until I drill another 1.5 inches of steel. That took me 3 days, not like 3 whole days, but I could drill through. So this is like a 1/2 inch right here, and then on the other side is, I don't think, quite a 1/2 inch. So then there's a whole nother one of these on the other side of that. So there's like fully 1 inch, you know, and you know, over a half. So over 1.5 inches of steel to drill through. I basically drill through like one section a day. The middle 2 sections, I drill through those in one day, and then one on each side. And it would take me like, well, basically my batteries would be dead. So that was kind of, and I have, but I mean, my batteries, my hands, like staring at the wall of me drilling like that for like an hour or something like that is like basically all I can take. Made me go and look up the Milwaukee electromagnetic drill press, and at like somewhere between $1,200 and $1,600. It's just, I'll stand there and stare at the wall for an hour a day. My master plan is not gonna work, because that switch and all those switches are one kind of switch, and this is a different kind of switch. And I don't think it's only the color of the LED, because the actual pinout of the back of the switch is different. These are all the same, and that one's different. So I got that switch out to try to find out what the like the writing on it was, to try to find another one. And what a nightmare. There's so many different kinds of those things, and the writing on there is like, so anyway, I just started messing with it. Just tapping it on the desk, pushing on it, tapping on it, tap, 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 bam. I got it to start working again. So I have got it put back in with a game plan of not pushing it. That button really isn't supposed to be used ever unless you need to jump start your truck. That's the only reason that's there. But I've been using that button to charge this battery since that's good news. Finally, I got the parts, the button is fixed, and you know, if this solenoid works, then the button's just, I don't even need to mess with it, so hopefully it'll just be a non-issue. Very excited about that. Nothing's getting done on the truck today, but this is a perfect example of what I have to do currently. So I've got the extension cord going here, and then it comes up here, plugs into this power strip. Then there's another extension cord that goes through up there, and that one goes in to the other container, and then there's another extension cord that goes to another power strip that then powers everything over there. Sometimes, if it's not snowing, I would just run this extension cord through the front door, plug everything into one thing, and pass all this BS that I have going on to get, you know. But having extension cords running through the door when it's snowing is a good way to end up with a bunch of extra water in there. So I looked up when I ordered the inverter. I ordered the inverter December 14th. Today is February 2nd, okay? I just got the final part, which is, I'm not even sure if it's gonna fit, but it's not a big deal. I can make it fit, but we're gonna see if it looks like it might fit. I was worried about it not clearing that, but it seems to be clearing that, so I'm good to go. But this is a dimmer switch, and that's a converter. So this converter pulls 30 amps, and I only want it to pull like 13 if I can nail it down to exactly that. So that's what the dimmer switch hopefully is going to do. It's probably been like 10 days or something since I couldn't get both wires through there. So just trying to decide what to actually do, because of, you know, the fact that it's kind of, some things are temporary and, you know, this stuff's going to be moved around, and I don't want to do a whole lot. So what I ended up doing was just going through my existing place with, as I know this is not outdoor, but technically this isn't going to be outdoors, right? So that is an outdoor plug, but that getting weather is highly unlikely. I'm sure anything's possible, but eventually this is going to be indoors, so I'm not going to sweat it. I just made this part of that project all inclusive, so the running of electrical extension cords through the door ends all at the same time as I get the power. And I've been working on this since I got that inverter December 21st, I think. And I've been working on this, and it's now February. And I've only think in that amount of time, I think I've needed extra power like 4 times. Well, not being careful enough, fumble fingers. I think I just toasted the inverter as I was hooking up the ground to my bus bar. My ground wire flipped, hit this, and a lot of smoke came out of here. So depressing. I'm scared to turn it on. I would almost be willing to bet that it's toast. Like, you're probably not supposed to run DC hot to that post. In no world was that supposed to happen. Ay, caramba. So I'm gonna try to turn it on now and see if it is fried or not. Holy shit. Holy shit. As much smoke as just came out of that thing. I'm surprised it's turned on. Okay, the converter is wired to the dimmer, is wired to the cord reel. Now I just have to put the new plug in on that. All right, it's all together. We're ready for the first test of the converter to see if I can plug this in and charge the battery from the inverter or the solar. I heard something. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. It's working. It's totally working. It's totally working. The battery was at 12.4. It's working. It's working. It's working. Holy cow. That's so awesome. Now, let's see if it's taking in enough power to run the inverter to run the block heater, which is the big. Okay, so we go inverter. That's good, didn't drop. Ooh, that's making some noise now. Dimmer switch is maxed out. It's running. I don't want to run this test super long because I don't have a bunch of power today because the sun's not up. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not getting enough to keep this up. It seems to be working perfectly. Yeah. It's not making any noise now, and the battery's almost charged up to full. Woo-wee. I think this is done. It's in there. It's all nice. I just decided to do a quick test with the inverter just to see if it's going to work at 10 amps. 10 amp charging. So here we go. I'm going to make sure my charging is set to the right level before I plug it in. We have a... Alright, here we go. Well, guess what? Every time I used to do that, the light would go out on that. It's charging. It's AC charging. Yeah! Woo! I mean, that's it. Other than wiring up these to make it more convenient to plug all this in, it's working. It's done. Okay. So, I don't know if if the camera's going to be able to see it or not, but when this closes, there's a gasket in here, but it really doesn't do anything. Like, see when the lid kind of locks up, so this gas is just not doing anything. So, there's been snow that blows in here when it's closed, right, mind you, and dust. So dirty in here all summer long, and I was just like, what the heck, I'd keep it closed, but it was always dirty. So I've cleaned it out a bunch. What I just did was I just cleaned this edge with isopropyl, and now I got these weather strippers here, and and from my experience with the Velcro on the bottom of that board, it wasn't sticking because it was cold. I put it in the warm container, it warmed up, and oh, it doesn't stick now. So I don't really have the ability to put this anywhere but right there. So I'm gonna warm it up, warm and go. Okay, so this is the first, most likely, test day. Oh, and we just ran out of juice here. So now we're going to hope the truck starts, because if it doesn't, the next step is to jump it with the backhoe, which is when it's cold, gotta kind of do it. Probably gonna have to do something like that. In the next 3 days, we have some real cold weather coming. Ooh, this might start. Yay! So the battery in here at 32 degrees provides enough power to get the truck started. Great! But 32 degrees is, and it works perfect now. So that red light indicates that it's charging, and that doesn't flicker on and off and on and off anymore. So the box is fixed, and it's charging, and it's going to be a while before the battery is fully charged. At that point, I can conceivably plug it in if I needed to. Well, actually, technically, I have one more thing to do. So this is done. This is all like a custom-ish thing, because this thing here at Platt Electric, they didn't really have anything that married up with this. So I had to cut this back plate here and then drill and mount that, which super rock solid. And then because this thing was too deep for basically one of these here, it just sat so far back that the wires wouldn't mesh up. So I just went ahead and drilled this thing and actually made use. Now it has this. Now, mind you, this whole thing is kind of temporary because there's going to be a wall right here. And so this will have to be out here eventually. Okay, very exciting. We're plugged in here. AC charging is working. And amazingly, this seems to be holding. Like, AC charging takes less power than the block heater. It's seeming, but there's a possibility that this inverter might have a better conversion rate than the other inverter, so that they might be so close. That could be a possibility as well. But this project is a success. It's done. The next project is to add solar, no, actually the next project is to add bigger wires underneath the, bigger wires and new batteries underneath the hood of the truck. And then a solar charge controller and solar panels on the truck. So stay tuned for all that. Like and subscribe. Peace. Thanks for watching.